I will live and not die and declare the works of the Lord. Psalms 118, verse 17.
Good day, everyone. I'm Danny. This is Lisa. For those who don't know us, Blackshears, and basically, we just want to come share with you guys some things that happened mostly in 2024 up until now. We want to just be transparent with you guys and just kind of open up some of our private things that we experience. And, one of the things I've noticed about us, well, about people in general, we don't share to help. I know a lot of times if we're private because, for some reason, we kind of don't want people to judge us, and look and feel a different way about us, because uh, but
I don't think it's a judging thing.
Mhm.
I think more or less what we're about to share, we were trying to stand on our faith, and we want to make sure that we had people standing in the same, in agreement with what we were doing.
And also sharing the hope, that once you stand on your faith, once you stand on God's word, God is true to blessing us through different situations.
Yeah, different phases that we go through in life.
Absolutely. 2024 was a roller coaster of different things that happened. That year, will always stand out for many different reasons. Okay, and that was a year that challenged our faith. Right. When it came not only for our health, it challenged our faith for praying for other people as well.
Right.
Okay, and so we want people to understand that the purpose of sharing our experience is to just kind of just give people hope and let them know that God is able to bless us through any and every type of situations we come across.
That's right. So like this time last year, June 2024, we experienced a life-changing event. And it was weird because it came out of the blue. And it's like early June 2024, I was falling. I was having trouble singing, couldn't type. But most of the things that I do on my job is typing. I was having trouble typing using the keyboard. Didn't think anything about it. We thought I was being goofy, kept falling, and just doing some things that are out of the ordinary.
To lock in on that briefly, we were in Gatlinburg. I can't remember if you were stumbling or whatever before we left, or did it? I noticed it when we were in Gatlinburg, and then when we came back, our daughter was here, and she kind of told me about you stumbling when we came back, from my understanding.
Right.
If that's correct. So we were in Gatlinburg. You was having these symptoms, and also you started getting these headaches.
Yeah. So I was having what I thought was a migraine. Because I never experienced this headache so intense before. And I think
which wouldn't go away.
It wouldn't go away. Tylenol wasn't doing it. Nothing wasn't doing it. It got so bad I looked on TikTok to get rid of bad migraines, and they were saying, hit the back of your head, and had Danny hit me in the back of the head, trying to help ease the pain, and it wouldn't go away. So that lasted for at least 4 days, probably more than that. But
because we was there on a weekend, Gatlinburg, and so that Monday.
Yeah. Well, I had headaches in Gatlinburg.
It started in Gatlinburg.
Mm-hmm.
When we came home, a couple of days had passed. Headache was still there.
Mm-hmm.
So Friday,
June 28th.
that's when it was like, wait a minute, this is not good.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think we were getting ready to go out to eat. And you took a nap that evening. And when you got up, that's when you were like, it was like, okay, we need to go to the hospital. I think you made a statement.
Yeah. I was like, you need to take me to the hospital.
We took you to ER to Centennial.
Yeah. You took me to the ER. And I remember giving my health card and my license. But after that, I don't remember what happened.
I can't remember. Did the kids show up that later that night? It was just me and you. I think in the emergency room. And so,
oh no.
Well, the doctors took you. Just a quick brief. The doctors took you in the back. They took your blood, your symptoms, and everything, and then they decided they need to do a CAT scan, MRI. Okay, and then that's when they came back and said, "Hey, we see something. We might need to keep you." Okay, keep in mind this was a Friday night going into Saturday. All right, Saturday morning, and you know, in most cases, when you go to the hospital on a weekend, okay, it tends to be a little bit slower than normal because you got your weekend doctors. Not that they're not good at what they do.
Mostly on call.
They're mostly on call, and so it felt like okay, something needs to be done Saturday, but all they did was pretty much was giving you medication for your pain.
For my headache.
Yeah, for your headache, and so I remember it felt like it was getting worse because even though you was taking the pain, it was just pretty much drugging you up, but you still had a headache. Okay, that's kind of what I saw, and so they gave you a really high. I can't remember. They gave you like the highest dose of what they could, that they thought was appropriate, and you could only take that for every 6 hours. So every time a nurse came in to check on you, they kept asking you 1 to 10. How's your pain level? And you kept saying about 8. 8 to 10. And I'm like, whoa. And so I noticed that you wanted to peel a little bit sooner than 6 hours. And the nurse said, we can't give it to you. We only can give you this type of pill every 6 hours. And so I was like, well, what's a less dose? Yeah. And she said, okay, we can give you this other one for every 4 hours. So we went to that. We went to that every 4 hours. And, by this time, we had reached out to some close friends and family members and church members, and prayers were going out, which we thought was like a simple in and out thing, not knowing what the x-ray or the CAT scan or whatever they found. They found something, but they didn't know what it was, and we didn't know what it was.
So what happened to make them say, hey, we need to do an operation?
Somewhere around Monday, because I do remember Sunday, praise God, you were starting to feel a little bit better. Okay. The numbers that you was giving them were less than what it was Saturday. 6, in that range. So you was moving in the right direction Sunday. So, whatever the prayer support that was present, it was starting to help in that regard. Yeah. And so it Monday, somewhere between Sunday and Monday, because Monday was when they were like, we need to have an operation.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I don't know if it was Monday morning, and I can't remember in detail. Maybe we got to have the kids to help us on that part because, even though I wasn't a patient, my mind was like crazy too, because it was a really roller coaster of emotions at that time. But let's just say, to keep from moving on. The decision was made Monday morning for you to have an operation. Okay, I'm thinking somebody came in and saw the report and thought it was a big deal to have an operation. And then so from that point on, they was preparing you to have an operation.
So did they say, we saw on the MRI that they said it was something there, but they didn't know exactly what?
Right. Okay. That's right.
And so then they had the operation on Monday.
Yes. Monday morning.
July 1st.
You're right. July 1st. So moving forward, the operation went well.
Well, what did they find?
A tumor was the word that they used. Okay, but and I understand that because it's not until you get a biopsy
of the tumor, yeah,
to really put a name on it.
What the issue?
Right.
So when you heard that, like, it's a tumor in the brain, you probably thought about 12 years ago. 12 years ago, I had a pituitary gland tumor in my brain that was removed by going through my nose.
Because it was kind of directly behind in the nose area, more so up high.
Yeah, but it was still part of the pituitary gland is part of the brain.
Yes.
So I'm assuming I would think, oh, this is the same thing. We just gonna keep rolling.
Yes.
And it wasn't gonna be a big deal.
Yes. Well, the first one was a big deal because anytime they go in the brain, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
that's a big deal. To me, the brain and the heart, you have operations in those two areas. That's a big deal. You know, because you can be going in for something simple and something crazy can happen.
Oh yeah, because I know the first one, the pituitary gland tumor, they did tell me if we got too close that I could be blind when they took that out.
Yeah.
And so but everything was fine, everything went well. So to hear that you have a brain tumor, you automatically go back to that same scenario thinking, oh, they can just go through. Well, I'm saying automatically think because I didn't know half the stuff that was going on while I was in the hospital.
Yeah. And you made me think about something. Let's go back to the first one, 12 years ago. The symptoms were different.
Totally different.
Than 2024. And it's kind of a blessing because I'm looking back at the symptoms. I'm looking back at the steps that you took to get that removed. And I'm looking at your lifestyle, your daily routine. Everybody, has this responsibility of trying to take care of their health the best they can. Right? We're health conscious, right? We eat normal. We don't eat crazy. I think as we get older, we kind of scale back on some things that we know is not good for us. But I think you went into another doctor, and I think it was the doctor comment on you being cold all the time or something like that.
Yeah, I went to my regular OBGYN visit, and I was telling him to hurry up because it's cold in here. And she was like, what? It's not cold in here. We even got a heater on. And she was like, let me take your blood. We're going to do some blood tests. And then that's when everything started to cycle for the pituitary gland tumor.
I'm looking at God. You go to an OBG. YN. I don't know what that is.
Lady doctor.
Okay, that's a doctor that the guys don't get. And God is like, okay, I'm going to use this doctor to help you get the treatment you need from another doctor through, you see what I'm saying? It's like, that's...
help you to locate something that's growing in you
that you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know. You still get cold a lot, but
not like that.
But not like that, right? So part of it is menopause. We're gonna have another thing about menopause too.
Yeah.
that affects couples. In the beginning, you had made a statement that we had a challenge.
Yeah, because it was
even
us.
even though my health wasn't on the line, it affected me.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it affected me probably in different ways. You know what I'm saying? But it's like your mind is thinking, okay, what do we need to do?
Right.
Instead of what do Lisa needs to do. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it becomes a we thing. And whether you're married or not, even if you're single, it's very important to have a we group.
Right.
I just made it up.
Well, yeah, because your circle of friends, circle of prayer partners, you branch out. You touch so many different lives that you don't realize.
Right. Some of our friends came after the fact and while in it was expressing that, hey, they've experienced similar things, and they gave us confidence that, about praying. See, when you go to certain people, it feels different when you go to someone who's been through what you've been through, and they pray for their victory. Mm-hmm. Okay, and they know how to pray. Okay, mm-hmm. Everybody know how to pray, but not everybody has been through a life-threatening situation where the Bible talks about, going through the valley of the shadow of death. Right. Okay, being able to walk your way through it, right, mm-hmm. is a difference. You get. It's like your faith level should be a little stronger to the point where now you become a cheerleader in prayer for other people to say, hey, God can bless me, God can bless you. Right. Okay, and that's part of this whole thing that we want to build up to, is explain to people and share with people about. I wanted to piggyback off of the first tumor. Mm-hmm. And just kind of emphasize you had different symptoms than what you did with the one you had in 2024. Right. Okay. So the operation went well.
Operation went well, and they came and told you it was a brain tumor. And what size was it?
Golf ball. A golf ball. And it was pressing up against some nerves. That's what created the headaches and the balance, because it was, the brain is like the center point of everything, right? Mm-hmm. And so it affects. Something else I want to emphasize: the left side of your body was affected, kind of similar to stroke symptoms, like your eye. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm.
That's the side I couldn't see when I was typing at work. Everything on my left side was like a blur.
Right. Mm-hmm. Your arm, when you was driving, okay, you didn't have that strength to close I remember you called me from wherever you were, and the car was acting funny because, certain cars, if the door's not shut, it won't let you.
It wouldn't let me reverse.
So you called me trying to figure out what's going on with this car. Mm-hmm. And I think after, carefully looking around, you figured out that your door wasn't closed all the way.
You told me to turn the car off and back on and to see what the console said.
I got you.
And once I did that, I saw up there it said door is not closed.
Right.
And once I closed the door, I was able to reverse.
Right. Yeah. So your eye, your arm, and then your legs. That's where the stumbling came in at. Mm-hmm. The stumbling and not having your balance.
Right.
So that whole left side was affected. But when you go into the hospital, you listen to the doctors, they're telling you and asking you these questions, and they're coming up with their theory of, okay, what this looks like, or this or that, and the blessed thing about you is, on the inside to rebuke any negative thing, not to ignore, mm-hmm. but not to, at the same time, don't accept. Right. Mm-hmm. You are very good at it. You always been consistent about that. And so, because here's the thing about that those reports, people would leave the hospital and come home. And now mentally, they are like
freaked out,
freaked out. It's like the doctors are doctors, but the doctors are not Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I recently told someone today that they called me up on the status of their mom. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I said, you know what? That's the doctor's report, but that's not Jesus' report.
Right. Exactly.
Jesus has a different report. Okay. Right. Okay. We just got to write down his prescriptions. Woo.
Yeah.
Right. Take those X amount of time a day.
Right. Just like you're taking medicine.
Just like you're taking medicine. Okay. Mm-hmm. And you'll feel better. Mm-hmm. Right. You'll feel better. Mm-hmm. It all starts.
You'll get better.
Right. It's a mental thing. The mind controls kind of it navigates a lot of what we say.
Right.
That makes sense.
We got to renew our mind. That's the thing. We got to renew our mind so we won't be messing up our prayers.
There you go. Mm-hmm. It goes hand in hand. It has to. You're right, and both have to be in line with the Word of God.
Yeah. So they came and told you when they cracked my head open that they found a tumor, and they got all of it out that they could see, and they had to go send it somewhere to get a biopsy.
Yes. There you go.
But we're going to talk about that biopsy on the next episode.
Okay. Because Monday operation, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're in the hospital recovering, and Thursday, they was like, okay, all right, it looks like you're doing pretty good, Miss Blackshears. You're passing all the rehab. You had the rehab, the physical therapy, speech, occupational. You're looking pretty good. So that Friday was 4th of July.
Thursday.
Was it Thursday? Mm-hmm. It was Thursday, 4th of July. And so that's when they okayed for you to come home Thursday.
Well, they gave me a walker and told me to walk around the nursing station. Mm-hmm. And I remember saying that I was going so fast that they didn't need to keep me there anymore. Mm-hmm. I didn't, I was walking so fast, I was doing good. Mm-hmm. So they didn't need to keep me there anymore. And let me go on July 4th.
Awesome. We're going to share on the next episode, where we were spiritually, what were we thinking that week up to 4th of July, right? After the operation. So you got the mindset before the operation, you got the mindset after the operation when you came home. And then we'll talk about the experience after we got the report.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys, I hope this wasn't too long, but we're building up to something, and if you guys stay with us, prayerfully, not only is you'll get to hear our personal experience of this whole journey. So we see you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.